Hello once again. Welcome to Zephyr's BI and Analytics, where we learn by building BI projects, growing with care driven by insights. Today on this channel, we're going to be working on another interesting data project. That's the Udemy courses analysis. So if it's your first time on this channel, please subscribe, click on the notification button to always stay updated when new projects are uploaded. The Udemy courses analysis dashboard we're going to be recreating was officially created before now using Tableau by a Tableau specialist named Maureen Okonkwo. We're going to take a peek at the dashboard and see how we can replicate the dashboard using Power BI. So stay tuned, let's take a peek at the Tableau dashboard. This is actually the Udemy courses analysis dashboard created using Tableau by Maureen Okonkwo. You can see the key KPIs with students, total price, lectures, reviews. You can see the percentage distribution, the web development with 68% when it comes to total students. So most of the students are actually looking at web development subjects. Then about 16% are looking to business and finance subjects. Then the price, in terms of price, you can actually see bulk of the price is actually coming from web development. Then for the lectures, we have to web development. So web development is actually dominating. Then we also have how much are students willing to invest. We also have what the courses that our students are actually investing on, and the correlation between students and reviews, then students and lecturers. So we're going to be recreating this dashboard using Power BI. We are going to see how we can actually replicate the features we have in this dashboard. This is actually here. So when you click on a particular year, the dashboard automatically filters to that year. This is 2012. Then this we have the different subjects. This is business and finance. So when you click on business and finance, the entire dashboard changes to you can see the result for business and finance. So we're going to be doing this. We're going to be creating this dashboard using Power BI. We're going to try as much as we can to replicate all the features we have on this dashboard. So one thing on this channel, we're also very concerned about building reports, not just beautiful dashboard, but we are concerned about the analysis. The report should be able to tell stories. The analysis should be clear and concise, and critical decisions can also be should also be able to be made from the analysis, not just building beautiful reports. So I was able to have a short meeting with Maureen Okonkwo where she talked about how she came up with the whole analysis, the narrative behind the analysis, the storytelling, and why she decided to create the dashboard this way. So let's just take about 5 minutes to listen to what she said. Then we'll proceed to how we can get the data and start building the dashboard using Power BI.
Okay. Well, while working on, or before I worked on this or any of my dashboards, I make sure I first of all understand the data set. So when the data set came up, that was January. That was actually Onyi's data set
Uh,
for, yeah, January challenge. So, beginning of the year, you're very, focus driven, trying to do a lot of things. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll be doing one challenge a month. And yeah, that's how I picked this particular data set. When I picked it, I didn't really know the kind of story I wanted to share, but I knew I wanted to do something really different. So the first thing I did was, really understand what the data set is all about. It took me actually 4 weeks to put this off, a lot of back and forth. But first of all, I had to build a framework after I realized, okay, this is the kind of story I want to tell. And the second is, how do I put this in shots? I really tried out different shots. I not just this particular one you're seeing. I did a lot of design. This wasn't the initial design of this dashboard, anyways. First of all, in every business dashboard, you have to understand what your KPIs are. So the KPIs are what you have on the left hand side, which are the subject, the students, the total price, the lectures, the reviews. You just flesh that out on Tableau, and you now think of another way to do another stuff. But while doing this, I realized that I wanted to tell a different story, which is the integral part of every dashboard or every storytelling visualization. What are you trying to make your audience see? All I wanted for them to see is not just the link that takes them to Udemy or see the highest paid goals or top five. I wasn't looking for something like that. I was looking for something more intriguing, something more uh, interesting, rather. So I felt like, okay, if I'm in this guy's shoes, for instance, I'm working in Udemy, what would I love to see in particular? What would I love to see based on what the students are investing in? Apart from me seeing how we are doing, which are the KPIs or how much we've been invested or the lectures and whatever. But on the other side of the dashboard, which is the Udemy student analysis, that is the core of this particular dashboard. So as for example, if I'm working with Udemy, what would I love to see? And I'm like, okay, of course, I would love to see how much we're making, yeah, which is the KPI. But I'd love to see how much are these guys willing to invest in this particular stuff or in this particular subject. So I had to figure out a way to showcase that. And it took me a while to realize that I could use histogram to actually, put that up. So on the how much are students willing to invest on the histogram charts, that was what I used to bring that out. And as you can see, people are willing to invest, up to $180, which is like a lot of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the other hand, I just don't want to know how much. I also want to know what courses are these guys willing to invest this kind of money. And when you go over it's the same histogram, but the difference is I'm using a bar, whereas on the other side I'm using a circle. So the circle was to give this particular chart granularity to see like what courses are these students really investing in rather. So that's the reason why I use this. Uh, then on the students versus the reviews, basically, what reviews are, what are the students what subjects are the students talking about, or how are the students talking about each particular subject. So why these two scatter plots are there is because of the subject you have on the right. So once you click on the subject, for instance, you're on web development, maybe you could click something next. So once you click there, you'll see how these guys are reviewing these subjects. Yeah, you see the number of students versus the number of reviews, or the number of students versus the number of lectures. Honestly, I think this is quite straight to the point. Then at the top right, you have paid versus free. Obviously, we all pay for Udemy courses,
Sometimes.
literally sometimes. But yeah, but there are also free courses, which is up to 26.8 or 27%. So yeah, when you go to the top left, you will find out that I also did something like year, not just on each subject, but on a yearly basis. How much are we getting? So this particular one will help so much in the KPI aspect of things.
A big thank you to Maureen Okonkwo for her input. Next, let's proceed to how we can get the dataset and start recreating our reports in Power BI. So the dataset was actually provided by ONIX Data, that's Data DNA, for their January 2024 data challenge. So on your web browser, I'm going to come to my web browser now, that's my Chrome browser. I'll simply just search for That's onixdata.co.uk. That's the link, onixdata.co.uk. I'll just hit my enter button. So once these websites open up, I'll simply navigate to data DNA. I'll navigate to data DNA dataset challenge. I'll click on data DNA dataset challenge. Once I'm here, I'll carefully scroll down. I'll carefully scroll down. I'll keep scrolling down carefully, gradually. I'll scroll down until I find archived datasets. That's the archived datasets. I'll click on the archived datasets. Now scroll down. So you'll find it here. We have the eBay, we have electronics product rating. That's this electronic product data and ratings data set. That's what we use for our previous report. That's our previous dashboard. We've done that already. So if you've not seen that report, you can check the channel, you'll find the report. So this is where you download the January 2024 Udemy courses data set. So once you're here, just click on download. You'll be requested to enter a few details. So here I'll put in my name, I'll put in my email address, I'll select a visualization tool, that's Power BI, then I'll click on download. This takes me to OneDrive. I'll simply just click on download to download the dataset. Great. Once you're done downloading the dataset, we can then navigate to our Power BI so we can begin the process of creating the report. But before now, I already created the report using Power BI. So let's take a look at the report I created using Power BI, which we are going to replicate using this video. So this is actually the Udemy courses analysis report I created using Power BI. I tried as much as I could to give it the same features compared to what with the tablet dashboard that we're actually trying to recreate. So we're going to be I'm going to walk you guys through the process of creating this dashboard just the way it is here using Power BI. So these are actually the year. When you click on a particular year, the report filters to the year also. Then you can actually pick a particular subject, just like we saw with the Tableau dashboard. You can pick a particular subject and the entire report changes. You pick a particular subject, the entire report changes also. So great, we're going to be creating this now. We already have the data set. So let's open up our Power BI desktop to begin the process of creating this report. So the first thing I'll do before bringing our data set into Power BI, I'll quickly navigate to my downloads folder. So this is my folder. This is my download. So this is the file. I will unzip the file. So I'll extract here, right click and extract here. I'll scroll down now. So this is the data set. So I'll quickly rename this data set now. I'll rename it to Udemy. I'll rename this data set to Udemy dataset. Great. So I'll rename it to Udemy dataset on my download folder. I'll close this now. So in our Power BI desktop, what we need to do is simply come to get data from Excel workbook. It's on my download. I'll scroll down. That's it, Udemy dataset. I'll click on it and click on open. So we have two tables here. We have the data dictionary, then we have the ONIX data DNA dataset. So I'll simply pick the dataset. Once I pick the dataset, I'll go to transform data. Once Power Query is opened, the first thing I'll do is simply rename this to Udemy I'll just say fact Udemy. That's that's it. So let's quickly take a look at the different columns we have in this data set. So we have the course ID column. This is actually a unique ID for the different courses. Then we have the course title. Then we have the URL to each of the courses. Let's go. Then we have the column that says is paid. So what this column does is simply ask if the course is paid or is free. So if it's paid, that means it's more like asking a question, is it paid? True means it's paid. False means it's free, which means it's not paid. So we have the price for each of the courses. Then we have the number of subscribers, which is more like the number of people that were actually bought this course already, this particular course. Then we have the number of reviews that course has received, the number of lectures, reviews, and the lectures. Then we have the level. I think the level we have about we have different levels. We have the all levels, beginners level, expert level, and intermediate level. So courses belong to different levels across these four levels. Then we have the content duration. Then we have the that's the published timestamp, then subject. So we're not going to be performing much transformation on this data set. The first thing we need to do is simply click on this timestamp here and change the data type. We don't need the time, we only need the date, so we'll change it to dates. Great, so we only get the dates, we don't need the time. So publish timestamp, we can actually rename this to publish dates. Once we're done with this, I'll simply come to File, I'll close and apply. We'll give it a little time. Great, so our ETL process is complete. So while we're here, quickly, I'm going to come to enter data, and I'm going to say, I'm going to call this table the DAX, and I'll click on load. Great. So what we need to do next is we need a calendar table. We need a calendar table. We need a table that will connect, calendar table that will connect to the published date on our fact Udemy table. So if we come to table view and select the fact Udemy, we have the published dates. So this is the published dates we have here. I'll select the published date. I'll change the date format. I normally like day, month, and year. I'll pick this. So we need to create a calendar table to connect to this published date table. And how do we do that? So to do that, the first thing we need to do is simply, what we need from that calendar table the most is actually the year. We just need the year, because if you go back to our report now, these are our KPI. So we are calculating the total subscribers, then we are doing versus previous year. So if you're on a particular year, we want to know the percent change compared to the previous year. So we need a calendar table. So while we're here, I'll simply come to home and say new table. You can call this table calendar or date table, whichever one you're comfortable with. So what I will do now is I'll simply go to my notepad. I already have a calendar table code written out already, so I don't need to keep writing it over and over again anytime I want to use it. So I'll simply grab this code I have here. I'll grab this code I have here now. And paste it here. So the only thing I'm going to do here is because I had coded this calendar date I had in my previous table. So I'll simply just erase this. I'll erase this and I'll use calendar auto and close the bracket. So the my table now is calendar table. It's actually calendar. Then I'm creating the calendar table with different columns. I have the year, quarter, month number, week number, and all that. So I'll leave the code so you can actually see the code clearly. Just you can just replicate the code at your own end. So once I hit the commit button now, I should have a calendar table. Great. So I have a calendar table. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I have to format this date properly because I have date and time here. We only need the date, so I'll select the date. I'll come here and say day, month, and year. Great. Even though we don't need the weekending, I'm still going to format the weekending to day, month, and year. Great. So one thing I'm also going to do, I'm going to select it. I'm going to make sure the data type is just date. I'm going to select this also. I'm going to make sure the data type is just date, not date and time. Great, so I can select it back and change the format to the one I normally like. Okay, so that's great. So once we have the date table created, that's the calendar table created, the next thing we need to do is go to our model view. Now we need to maintain a connection between the calendar table and the fact Udemy. So to do that, we need to navigate to where we have the published date, click, drag the published date, and drop it on the date on the calendar table. So we have a one-to-many relationship established already. Once we're done with that, let's go back to our table view. Okay, so our date is intact. Let's go back to our reports now. So in our reports, I'm quickly going to come to format page. That's format your reports page. I'm going to say canvas setting. I'll change it from type 16:9 to custom, and I'll take the height to be 1080, then the width to be 1920. Right, so this will give me a little more space in my report dashboard. So the first thing we need to do is create our KPIs. We need to create our KPIs, and we're going to start with the total. That's we need these KPIs, these four KPIs: subscribers, revenue, reviews, and lectures. So for the Tableau dashboard, you'll notice that there are some differences. Where we're mentioning revenue here, the Tableau dashboard, it was actually prices. Where we're mentioning subscribers, for the Tableau dashboard, it was actually students. So we'll be sticking to this because I prefer subscribers. We have the total subscribers, revenue, reviews, and total lectures. So let's go back to our reports. On our DAX table, I'll stay on our DAX table now. That's the table on our DAX table. I'll stay there and say new measure. So what we need to do is simply say total courses. We need total courses. So we can do a count. We do a count now of our fact Udemy course ID. So this will automatically give us the number of courses, so we can actually commit this. Once we've done that, the next thing I'll do, while on our DAX table, I'll simply come to options. I'll delete the column 1 from the model. I'll say yes. So this will automatically take my DAX table up so I can always see my DAX measures. So the next measure we're going to be creating now is we have subscribers. So new measure. So one thing you need to do, you can observe your table so you know if you're going to do a count or you're going to do a sum. So when we come to our Udemy table now, These are the courses. We know we're going to do a count using the course ID. But in terms of subscribers, total subscribers, you can actually see we have 2179000. So we need to do a sum when it comes to subscribers, not count. So I'll stay I'll go back to report to you now. I'll stay on the DAX table and I'll say new measure for subscribers now. New measure, that's total subscribers. So I'll do a sum, fact, Udemy, norm subscribers. I'll close this and commit. Next, we also need to calculate what we have there again. We have lectures. So we have subscribers, revenue, reviews, and lectures. So next, we need to pick reviews and lectures. So go back to the table. Let's see reviews now. So for reviews, let's see if we're doing a sum or we're doing a count. So for review, we're going to be doing a sum also. We're going to sum up all the reviews. Then for lectures, we're also going to be doing a sum. So let's go back to our report view. I'll stay on the DAX, new measure. So this measure is going to be our total review. As reviews now, do a sum, Udemy, that's reviews, number of reviews. I'll commit this. Next will be lectures. Next will be lectures. So I'll do total lectures. We do a sum also. Open the brackets. Lectures. I'll close this and commit. So we also need revenue. But if we go back to our table, we actually don't have a revenue column. So what we need to do is, now we have a price column here. This is the price for each of the course. This is the price for this course, $20. Then we have the number of subscribers, which means for us to get revenue, all we need to do is multiply the 217 subscribers to 20, which should give us the revenue for this particular course. So to do that, we simply come to new column, and we call this column revenue. I'll simply say, what do we want to do now? We want to multiply, that's our fact Udemy, that's the price. We want to multiply the price and the subscribers. It's simply the asterisk to multiply the price and the subscribers and commit this. So we should have a revenue column now. Yeah, we have a revenue column now to tell us the revenue for each of the courses. So we can go back to our reports now and come to the DAX table again and say new measure and say now total revenue. So we do a sum now, sum, then we can say the revenue and close the brackets. So with this, we have our KPI for the revenue, the lectures, the subscribers, the reviews, and the lectures. So if we go back to the report we want to replicate now, so we have the total subscribers, we have the revenue, we have the reviews, and we have the lectures. But then we have a percent change compared to the previous year. So when you're on a particular year, we want to see the percent change from when you compare it to the previous year. So we have how many years here? We have 7 years. So let's say we're on 2013 now. So you see the percent change compared to the previous year, that's 2012. So if we proceed to 2014, you see the percent change compared to, so it's actually, it improved compared to 2014. That's compared to 2013 now. So this is what we need to do next. We need to do this next. So we are going to be calculating um, the total subscribers based on previous year. So what I'm going to do now is I'll simply come here and copy the measure that's total subscribers based on previous year. So here on year, it's a simple measure. It's a very simple measure. So which is the year on year subscribers. So I'll simply copy this now to save time. We'll explain this once we get here. So while we're here, I'll come to the DAX and say new measure. So the first thing I'm saying, okay, year on year subscribers percent. We want to know the percent change year on year. So first thing we did is created a variable. That variable is to actually say previous year subscribers. Now we're saying calculate. We already have a measure that calculates the total subscribers. Remember, we have a measure that calculates total subscribers here already. Calculate the total subscribers. Go back 1 year. So the reason you are having this date highlighted here, that's because our date in this case is actually calendar. Our table is date table is named calendar, so we see calendar dates. We have to delete this multiple dates we have here. So we're saying calculate the total subscribers, go back 1 year using the dated add function. Now we have another variable here holding total subscribers. Remember, we already have total subscribers calculated already. So now we're returning a division of the total subscribers previous year divided by the previous year. So this will give us the subscribers year on year percent change. So once we commit this, yes, we have the subscribers year on year percent change. So you can actually do the same thing for that's revenue, lectures, and reviews. So what I'm going to do now is to save time, I'm simply going to copy this. I'll copy this. Next thing I'm going to do is stay on our DAX table and I'll say new measure and I'll simply paste this. But now I'm no longer talking about subscribers, I'll be talking about revenue. So what do I need to do? The first thing I want to do is that's calculate the previous year, not sub now, previous year revenue. Now I want to calculate the total revenue, not subscribers now, revenue. So I'll delete this. I'll say total revenue. Now I'll go back, our date remains the same, we're going back 1 year. Now this is total revenue, not sub. I'll also change this to total revenue, not subscribers, we're talking about revenue here. Finally, remember this is not sub anymore, this is revenue, so I'll change this to rev, I'll change this to rev, I'll also change this to rev, finally I'll change this to rev, and I'll change the last one, very last one to rev. So this will give us the year on year percent change for revenue. Year on year percent change for revenue. So I'll simply just copy this once more. I'll save it. I'll commit this now. So we have the percent change for the revenue already calculated. The next thing we need to do same for review. So I'll come and say new measure again. I'll paste the same thing. This time around, it's no longer revenue, it's review. So we are leaving total revenue to review as reviews now. Then what I'll do is I'll just let this be because review and revenue they are almost the same, but I'll make sure I change that's the total revenue here to reviews. So great. So we have year on year percent change for reviews already calculated. So I'll take it. And finally, we need to calculate the year on year percent change for lectures. So new measure, same principle. I'll simply just paste that measure. Now this is for lectures, not revenue anymore. Lectures. So this is going to be lec. So this is no longer total revenue. It's going to be total lectures. That's total lectures. Then this is going to be total lectures, no revenue. Total lectures. Total lectures, no revenue. Then I'm changing the naming here also. Changing the naming here also. Change it here. One thing you need to understand, whatever name you give your variable, that's what you're going to have done here. So I'm sure you know that before now. So that's good. So once we're done, I'll commit this. So we're done with our KPIs. We're actually done with our KPIs. So we have the, let's go back to our reports. We have the subscribers, revenue, reviews, lectures, and we also have the year-on-year percent change already calculated. So what we need to do next is to try and implement the arrows that we have here. So if it's a positive change, the arrow goes up and the color is green. If it's a negative change, the arrow goes down and the color is red. So that's what we need to do next. And to do that, you can actually see it here. It's actually the same thing. Using the year-on-year percent change is a simple measure I said. I said, okay, if the year-on-year percent change is greater than 0, I want you to use the arrow up. If it's less than 0, I want you to use the arrow down. Then what I'm returning is actually the change versus just the previous year. So I'm going to simply copy this measure once more. This unique here code is actually for the arrow up and the arrow down. Then the format is actually saying format it to percentage. That's 0.1%, one decimal place. So I'll simply copy this now. I'll navigate back to our reports once more. Once we're here, I'll say new measure. So remember, this is actually for the indicators, the arrow up and the arrow down. So I'll paste this. Now this is actually for revenue. So I'll name this one year-on-year percent. Then I'll make sure it's for revenue. So I'll do rev. Now this variable x, you have to make sure this x is actually the year-on-year percent revenue you calculated. So the naming convention must be intact. So this variable, we're actually calling the year-on-year percent revenue, where we used calculate total revenue, go back 1 year. That's the measure we have here. So that's what we're calling here. So we're simply saying if the year-on-year percent revenue we calculated earlier, we're saying it here, the change. We want the arrow up and the arrow down formatted to one decimal place percent. Then we want you to return the change and simply saying previous year, that's the PY. So this is for revenue. I'm simply going to copy this just to keep this because we need to replicate this for revenue, review, subscribers, and lectures. So I'll take this. So to view this, let's quickly pick our card visual. Let's pick our card visual now. I'll increase this. And let's look at it here, year on year rev. So once we select this, this is what you get. Now, it's actually black, but you won't see any change until we probably take a slicer and say we bring the year. So in our calendar, I'll pick the year. I'll simply go to format now, slicer setting, I'll say vertical list. So once we pick 20, this is 2011, you won't see any change actually since it's 2011. So now, once we're in 2012, it will compare it to 2011. So it's 1.1%. If we go to 2013, you see the increase. If we go to 2014, increase, 2015, increase, 2016, decrease, 2017, let's see what happens in 2017. 2017 is also decreased compared to previous year. So this is actually for revenue. So we need to replicate this for our subscribers. We need to replicate it for subscribers, reviews, and lectures. So next thing we need to do, I'll just remove this. Okay, I'll leave the year slicer. I'll just keep this here for now. So the next thing we need to do is stay on our DAX table, new measure once more. I'll simply paste the measure I copied. But remember, I'm going to change this now to review. I'll just name it review. That means my variable, the X here, I need to refer to reviews, not revenue anymore. So I have to refer this. That's year on year percent review. Now every other thing should remain the same. This is just the only thing I need to change. Every other thing will remain the same. This is the only thing I need to change. So I'll just simply commit this. Once we have this done, this is actually for no, this is revenue. So I'll make one more card. I'll change revenue to reviews. So this is review. So next we need to create for subscribers. So I'll stay on the DAX table once more. New measure. I'll simply paste the code again. Okay, so I need to go back and copy the code. So I'll just put one here. I'll go back and copy the code because I made a copy of the card visual. So what I'll do now, I'll just paste two card visuals. So um, one will be for subscribers and one will be for lectures. So I'll go back now and copy this. So we've done this for revenue, we've done it for review, so we need to do it for subscribers and lectures. So new measure, I'll simply paste the code. So now we need to change this from revenue to subscribers. Let's talk about subscribers here. So the variable X will be referring to it year on year percent subscribers. That's not revenue anymore. Year on year percent subscribers. That's the only thing we need to change, and we commit this. So finally, we need to do one more for lectures. So for this measure that I created before now, I didn't use it, so I'll simply paste it again. Now we're talking about lectures here, no longer revenue also. So lectures. So we're changing the X variable here to our lecture. That's year on year percent lecture. That should be all. So with this, we're done creating our KPI card. I'll simply change this now from revenue to subscribers. I'll change this from revenue to lectures. That's lecture. Great. So we have the four KPIs here. That's their change. So by the time we select a particular year, you can see the arrow going up or down, up or down, up or down, the percent change, increase or decrease, increase or decrease, increase or decrease. Great. So with this, we're done creating our KPI card. So what we need to do now, I'll remove all this, is actually to format our KPI card to look exactly like what we have in the report we want to create now. We need to format the KPI card to look exactly like what we have here right now. So to do that, let's begin with our total subscribers. The first thing we need to do, we are going to be using the new card visual. The new card visual. This is the new card visual. Card visual new. So I'll click on the new card visual. So what we need first is actually our total subscribers. So I'll click on our total subscribers, 2 million. I think what I did here, because we will be doing a lot of featuring. So once we have our total subscribers selected, I'll come to formats, visual, colored value. I'll change this total subscribers. We want this value to be, let's say 30. We can leave it. Then scroll down, display unit, say none. Then I think that will be all for now. We need to format one card, then we can actually use that. So I'll click on total subscribers. I'll come here and add a comma to the value. Great. So one thing I'll do next is simply come to the call out again. That's the call out value now. And scroll down. On the label, I'll expand the label. I'll increase the size to 14. Let's see, 14. That's 16. 16 is okay. 16 is okay. The next thing I'm going to do is simply come to the visual. I'll simply remove this underscore. So I have just total subscribers here. So this is total subscribers. So while we are here, we need to bring in the year-on-year percent change with the arrows indicating if the sales, if the subscribers is actually going up compared to the previous year or going down compared to the previous year. So while we have this selected, simply navigate to Format Visual, navigate to Reference Labels, and click on Add Label. Once you click on Add Label, navigate. We're looking for, that's the year-on-year percent sub. This is the year-on-year percent sub with the arrows indicating if it's going up or down. So I'll select this. Great. So we have the year-on-year percent sub. So what we simply need to do is simply do some formatting to this. So I'll change the series exactly on total subscribers. So for here, I'll select the year-on-year percent sub. Now we can actually decide to say we want to increase the size. And one thing, do we need the title? We don't need the title. We just need, but before that, let's increase the size once more. We don't need the title, turn off the title. Then the value, this is the value. Let's see, we increase the size of the value to, let's say 16 is okay. 16 is fine. Then we scroll down. I think that will be all. Then once we're done with this, we need to come to layout. We need to come to layout. Then we need to confirm max card rows. We can play with these. Space between. So these rows are actually alignment. You can actually change this to grid. You see how it looks like. You change this to single column. You see how it looks like. So overflow, continuous scroll, vertical direction. Wait, so finally, let's see how we can give it this look. So we have the total subscribers. The next thing we need to do is simply do a format to remove these. We don't need them. So I'll come to card. First thing I'll do is turn off the background, turn off the border. Total subscribers actually. Then come back to the layout once more. Layout, single column, space between 0. Go to general, effects, turn off the background also. And finally on our reference labels, scroll down, value, scroll down, turn on details. No, we don't need details, turn it off. Okay, I think for our cards, I'm trying to be sure where we need to turn off. We don't have any images. To subscribers, labels, layouts. Simply scroll up. Okay, great. So we need to remove this background we have here. So I think that should be on reference labels. Okay, so the background is actually on. So what we need to do first is we have to turn on the title first to access. We have to turn on the details. So we need to change this to feed name. No, not feed name now. Scroll down. Scroll down. Come on. We need to change this to all. Then scroll down and turn off the background and turn off the divider. Then finally you can scroll up, interesting, and turn off the title because we don't need the title in the sense. So you navigate back to year on year and turn off the title. So this is it. So for here, I don't think we need the title, so you turn it off. You need to play around these to actually, let's go back to this and see how we still increase the size to 16, 18, no, let's make it 16. 16 is fine. We need to turn off the details. You don't need the details. Okay, great. So basically, I think we need to walk through this again just to be clear. First thing is you need to bring in the new card visual. This is the new card visual. Once you bring in the new card visual, for now, I think the next one we need to pick is actually revenue. So let's say we select our total revenue first. These are our total revenue. We need to come to format, call out value now. We need this total revenue to be 30. Remember, you can change this. You need to change this to total revenue. So revenue is 30. The next thing we need to do is simply scroll down to label, expand the label, scroll down, increase label to 14. The color should be black. I'm sure, okay, label, let's make label 16. So that's for labels. Once we're done with this now, scroll up again, come to this format, then remove the hyphen, that's the underscore we have here. Great. So the next thing we need to do, once we have this sorted out, the next thing we need to do is add a reference label. So you come to the format visual, reference label. We want to add a reference label. The reference label we're adding in this case is actually for year-on-year percent change in revenue. That's this year-on-year percent revenue. So click on it, it appears here. So once we've done that, expand. Now come to reference label format. Hmm? Scroll down. While you are on all, while you have all selected, see, you have all selected here, selected label all. Scroll down, turn off the background, turn off the divider. Now scroll up, turn off the title. Change the select label to year-on-year percent rev, then scroll down carefully, expand the value and increase the size. Great. So we've done this for revenue, subscribers. For the subscribers, we need to do. So one more thing we did was simply to go to layout. That's layout. We still want to reduce this and reduce the spacing to, I think it's 0. Yes. So for the subscribers, we need to change. We need to simply come to no reference label color value. The color value here is 45. Okay, that's for all. So when you go to subscribers, it's actually 30. So when you scroll down the label, we need to change the color from the gray, change the color to black. Great. So we have this for subscribers, we have this for revenue, we have subscribers, we have revenue. So we need for review, So once you have this selected, remember to go to your card, you scroll down now, turn off background, turn off border, we don't need all those. Go to general, come to effect, turn off the background also. Great. So we have for subscribers, we have for revenue. What we need now is for reviews and lectures. I'll simply make a copy of this. Say copy, I'll paste, I'll change revenue, total revenue now, I'll change it to reviews, that's total reviews, great. So the next thing I need to change is simply to come to format. I'll say here is total reviews. I'll simply delete this, total reviews. Then I'll go to format, reference label, I'll add a reference label. I'll expand, that's year-on-year percent, this is review. So I'll click on review. Once I have review selected, I'll select my card visual now. On this reference label, I'll simply scroll down, down. I'll turn off the divider. Then I'll scroll up, turn off the title also. Now I can finally change the selected label. That select label, I'll change it to year-on-year percent review. Then I'll scroll down to the values. I increase the size to 16 like every other one. Great. Don't worry, we actually have 2011 selected. That's why you're not seeing any change there. So we scroll up now. We don't have any other thing to do here, so we simply scroll up. We come to the card, scroll down while you're here, turn off background, turn off everything is turned off. Great. So with this, we have for total reviews. So when we select 2012 now, you can actually see the percent change for each of them: subscribers, revenue, and reviews. So we need one final card that's for lectures. So make a copy of this. We change this to lectures from reviews now. I'll change it to lectures, to lectures. I'll simply remove the hyphen, that's the underscore I have here. That's lectures now. So I'll come to my card visual, reference label. I'll add the reference label, expand the DAX, that's year-on-year percent lec, that's lectures. I'll select this. Once I'm done with that, I'll scroll down, don't need this. I'll scroll down. I'll turn off the divider, turn off the background also, don't need those. I'll carefully scroll up now, turn off the title. Then I'll change my select label. From select label, I'll change it to year-on-year percent. I'll scroll down, come to my values, and increase it to 16. Great. So I'll scroll up. I think that will be it. We don't need any other thing because we copied the card, so we don't need to come and turn off background or any other thing here. Great. So we have for year-on-year percent change, we have everything for total subscribers, revenue, reviews, lectures. So one thing we need to also effect is the color change. So to do the color change, we need to select this particular card, this card visual now. We select this card visual and go to format now. Come to reference label because we actually want the color change for the reference label. So once we have the reference label selected, we scroll down. The selected label is year-on-year percent, for this case, year-on-year percent subscribers. You scroll down to where you have the values. So we actually want the value color change. So this is the color change we have now, black. So I'll click on the function conditional formatting here so we can format the color change. Now, for the color change, we are going to be saying we want the format to be based on rules. Now, it's total subscribers. We want it to be based on rules. Now, these total subscribers is not what we are referring to. The rule should apply to the year-on-year percent change for subscribers. Now, note, I'm referring to the year-on-year percent change for subscribers, not year-on-year percent sub that indicates if the arrow is going up. This one is for the arrow to go up or down. This one is actually what we use in effectively. So we're referring to the year-on-year percent change subscribers. So I'll select this. What I'll simply say is for this, it should be red. Once it's minimum 0, it should be red. So we'll simply pick a red color. Now add a new rule. If it's 0 and it's max, it should be green. So one thing I'll note is just the color code for these, so I can always use them. So I'll copy the color code. Copy this color code for the red. I'll simply just paste it here. I'll go back, copy the color code for the green. So I'll click on I'll click on OK now. So once you click on OK, because the percent change is actually upwards, is going upwards compared to previous year, so you have the green color. So let's say we keep checking for 2013 upward, 2014 upward, 2015 upward, 2016, great. So for 2016, it actually dropped compared to the previous year. So you see the red color, then you see the color change. So we need to do the same thing for revenue. So for revenue, I'll select the card. Once I have the card selected, we're still talking about the reference label. So I'll scroll down to where we have the values. I'll scroll down, conditional formatting. Now, it's not a gradient field, it should be based on rules. And the column we're referring to, the field we're referring to here is actually, you can guess, year-on-year percent change for revenue. That's year-on-year percent change for revenue. So for here, we need the red color. Now this is the green color. So I'll put a new rule now on 0 when it's max. So this is actually for the green color. So you see why I kept the color code. So I'll go copy the color code for the red. I'll get back, change this to red, and click on OK. So same thing applies here. So I'll come back to review now. I'll come to the values, conditional formatting. Remember, change is based on rules. Now for reviews, it's going to be year-on-year percent change review. Year-on-year percent change review. So this is going to take the red color. New rule 0. max. This is going to take the green color, so I'll simply go grab our green color code. Paste the green color and click on OK. Great. So finally, we need to do same for lectures. So expand the values, conditional formatting. It should be based on the rules. Now we are looking for the year-on-year percent change for lectures. This is year-on-year percent change lecture. So new rule 0. It should be max. This is for green, positive change. Then let me go grab the color code for the red, negative change. So I'll click on OK. So with this, we've been able to effect both the color change and the arrows that needs to go up to indicate positive or negative change. So if you continue, so you can actually see for this, it actually went up. Lectures went up compared to the previous year. Every other one is actually down. 2015, 2014, 2013. So great. We've been able to effect the color changes. So let's go back to our report and see what we need to do next. So we need to actually make this bigger. We need to make this bigger. Maybe let's confirm the size we have here. So we have 25. Change the text size and bold. Okay. So we need to make this bigger and more pronounced so we can use them before we go ahead to proceed to create these bar charts we have here. So let's go back to our report now. So while we have this selected, we can actually simply just come here and say color value. Leave it at 30, make it bold. Make this bold. Make this bold. Make this bold. Maybe we should make it 35. Hold down my control and select all and change this to 35. Okay, not bad. So for the reference label, I think reference label. So for this, we need to change the label, the size. So for the colored value, we scroll down to label. We need to make this 14 or 16. 16 and change the color to black. Also need to make this 16. Change the color to black. Great. So we have everything covered for that. So the next thing we need to do now is actually create a bar chart to display the year, that's the several years, the 7 years, then the total subscribers, that's the subscribers trend. So what we need to do is simply come to our visual, we pick our stacked column chart. What we need is simply go to, we need our total subscribers. So we select our total subscribers and we select our year. So we need to take the year, that's the year needs to go to the x-axis. Great. So this is our total subscribers for the different year. What we need to do here is simply format this now. For the x-axis, we don't need the title. For the y-axis, we don't need the values, we don't need the titles. Great. Then for the charts, we don't need the title also. So this is actually for total subscribers. So we select the chart also. We don't need the grid lines, so we turn off the grid lines. Vertical lines, we turn it off. Great. So this is actually for total subscribers. So we need to replicate this for revenue, reviews, and lectures. So what we need to do is simply make a copy of this chart. Copy, paste 1, 2, 3. So 1 is for revenue, one is for reviews, and one is for lectures. So for this, we change the total subscribers to revenue, come to revenue and pick revenue. For this, we change the total subscribers to reviews, that's total reviews. Right, for this, we change it to lectures. Great, so with this, we're already having the same field with this report. We're having the same field with this report. So one thing we need to do, we need to select this and come to our x-axis, change it from continuous to categorical. So we have the entire year from 20. So we need to change the filtering now, sort axis by year. So we need to sort it by year, ascending. So we have from 2011 to 2017. We need to replicate this, change this from continuous to categorical, that's the x-axis. Now we filter sort axis by year, sort the axis by year, ascending. Same for this, from continuous to categorical, sort the axis right now by year, sort it by year, ascending. Same for this. This is fun, right? Sort it by year, sort it by year, ascending. Great. So we have the stack column figured out for each of the KPIs already. So let's see our reports. So the next thing we need to create is actually um, these matrix here with the different subjects and their percentage for subscribers. Total subscribers now, these are web development. We have 57 subscribers. We have 26 subscribers, 9%, that's 26% of them are business finance, 57% are web development. So we need to create these. So let's navigate back to our reports. We select this, we need to add the dollar sign. So total revenue, we need to add the dollar sign and say dollars. Once I have that selected, I still want to format the values, decimal places to be 0. So I'll come to format, color value, I'll change this to total revenue, decimal places to be 0. One thing I would love to do is change the text style. So I'll come to format now, colored value. I'll change it from this dim to, I usually like this. So yes, I know it's going to make it bigger. So I'll also go to the reference label. I'll change the style also. Okay, we already have it. So let's say we increase the size a bit. Okay, I'm sure this is smaller. So these are just simple changes I'm making to make sure everything conforms. So I change the series to total lectures. I scroll down. New, this is smaller. Okay, let's just be sure. I want it bigger. So finally, great. So we are good. So we have this figured out already. So the next thing we need to do now is simply create the matrix table for the percentage for each of the subjects. So we need total subscribers, then the web development, for the subjects, the percentage for each of the subject. We need to create that for total subscribers, revenue, um, reviews, and lectures. So we'll start by calculating for subscribers. That's the percentages for subscribers. So I'll come to the DAX table and say new measure. I'll simply call this measure percentage subscribers to equal to. So next I'll say divide. Next I'll say divide. We have a measure that calculates the total subscribers already. So to the total subscribers, comma, I'll refer to next I'll say calculate. Now total subscribers again, comma, and finally say all in brackets. We are referring to the Udemy subject because we want to calculate subscriber percentage based on the subjects. So I'll simply close this, close this. So we need to close this one more time. So hit enter and close this. So it's a very simple measure just to calculate the percentage of subscribers across the different subjects. So I'll commit this. So next we can then simply pick a table and say we want the different subjects. We want the different subjects. Then we want to know the percentage of subscribers to the different subjects. So I'll simply come to global setting as global option, font size, increase this to 18 so you can see it clearly. Great. So what we need to do is format this to percent. So select the measure and click on percent. Great. So you can actually see now for subscribers, we have the web development 67.87%, musical instruments 7.20%, graphic design 9.04%. So if you check for a particular year, let's say 2012, you see the percentage of subscribers for that year. 2013, 20 that's the percentage of subscribers across the various subjects. 2016, 2017. We're going to format this eventually, so I will check this. So we've done this for subscribers, that's for total subscribers. We need to do the same thing for revenue, reviews, and lectures. So all we need to do is simply, we don't need this for now, we're going to come to this, simply copy this code we have here now, this measure we have here. Yes, to be fast, so we're simply going to come to DAX again and say new measure. So I'll paste the code, but this time around we're not talking about subscribers, we're going to be talking about percentage revenue. That's revenue percentage. I'm not talking about subscribers anymore. So this will leave from subscribers to revenue now. So revenue, we should also leave from subscribers to revenue. But we are still talking about same subjects, across same subjects. So the subject remains. So subscribers to revenue, subject remains. I'll click on OK. So we need to repeat the same thing for reviews and lectures. So for reviews, we need to do the same thing. Simply come to DAX now and say new measure. I'll simply paste. Now we're not talking about subscribers also, we're talking about reviews. So it will be percentage reviews. So I'll change the measure here from subscribers to reviews. I'll change this from subscribers also to reviews. I'll commit this. Finally, we need to do the same thing for lectures. So I'll simply come to new measure again. I'll come to new measure. I'll simply paste the same code. Now we're not talking about subscribers, also we're talking about lectures. To the lectures, I'll change this measure also to lectures. And finally, I'll change this to lectures. Wait, so I'll commit this. So once this is done, one thing we need to do, I'll stay on the revenue. I'll format this to percent. I'll go to the percentage review. I'll format it to percent also. I'll go to the lectures and also format it to percent. So with this, we can then create visual. With this, we can then create the table visual. But before we jump right to creating the table visual, let's quickly come to our report here. You'll notice that we have a numbering attached to the table that's from 1, 2, 3, 4. The numbering is actually based on the subject with the highest number of percentage. So we need to achieve this using a ranking. So we need to create a measure to rank our subjects based on the percentage value. So let's go back to our report now. So while we're here, I'll come to the DAX table and say new measure. Now, I want to create a rank. The rank I want to create now would actually be based on the subscriber percentage. So I will simply say rank subscribers, just use sub. Now, I'm simply going to say create a variable. I'll say variable. This will be the rank value, which should be equal to. I'll call on the function rank x. So rank x, then all. Now we want to rank our subject. That's the fact Udemy subject. We want to rank our subject based on the percentage subscribers. So we have a percentage subscribers there already. So I'll simply call on the percentage subscribers measure, put a comma, finally a comma, and we want to rank it in a descending order. So I'll close this. Next, finally, we want to return. What do we want to return? Now, there's a symbol attached to the numbering, so I'll simply say we want to return this. Then we have to concatenate this with the rank value and the rank value. So this is actually the ranking for the subject based on the percentage of subscribers. So what we'll do now, before I commit this, I'll simply copy this and I'll click commit. Now we've created a ranking based on the number of percentage subscribers. We also need to create a ranking based on percentage revenue, percentage reviews, and percentage lectures. So I'll go back to the DAX table, new measure. I'll simply paste the measure I copied, but it's no longer rank sub. It should be rank, let's say this is revenue, so rank revenue. So I'll change the percentage subscribers now to percentage revenue. Percentage revenue. Every other thing remains the same. So I'll commit this. The next one we need to create is rank review. So rank review, then rank lectures. So while we're here, I'll simply come to the DAX table once more, new measure. I'll paste the measure I copied now. I'll simply change this from rank sub once more to rank review, or maybe I'll just use RV. I'll change this from percentage subscribers to percentage review now. That's reviews. I'll commit this also. Then finally, we need to create a ranking for the lectures. So finally, I'll come to the DAX table once more and say new measure. I'll paste the measure once more. I'll change this now to lectures. Then this is actually based on the percentage lectures. Great. So with this, we can then proceed to creating our table. So to create our table, I'll simply come, select the table visual. This is our table visual. Let me quickly zoom into the table visual. I'll select our table visual. Great. So what do we need in our table visual? First, we need the ranking. But the first table visual we're going to be creating is for, that's the percentage of subscribers. So the first thing we need in our table visual, we need the ranking based on subscribers. This is the ranking based on subscribers. That's rank sub. I'll pick the ranking. The next thing we need the subject. So I'll simply come down here and pick the subject. Finally, what do we need? Then we need the percentage value. So I'll come to our DAX and click the percentage subscribers. Great. So now we have the percentage subscribers. We have the ranking, but we are ranking in descending order. So I'll simply come here and say sort by. We want to sort by the rank. That's the rank sub now. Then we want to sort by the rank sub in descending order. I'll sort by the rank sub. Then I'll sort in ascending order in this case. Great. So we have web development as the first. The second is business and finance. The third is graphic design. And finally, the fourth is musical instruments. So we need to format this table now. So what we need to do is just format this table to look exactly like what we have in the report. So the first thing I'm simply going to do is come to format. Then totals. I'll turn off the total because we don't need the total value. I'll turn off the totals. The next thing I'm going to do while we're here, I'll come to style presets. I'll change the style preset to none. We don't need any style. Great. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'll come to the grid. Once I'm on the grid, I'll go to the border. I'll change the border section to value selection, and I'll turn on the entire border for the values. Great. So one thing I also want to do is turn up the, I'll go to column header. I don't want it at the bottom. I want it at left, right, and top. Great. So with this, I have close to what we have on the other side. Let's compare these to see. Let's be sure. Okay, so this is smaller. Okay, great. So we also need to check the size. So for the size, I'll simply come to format. I'll go to general properties. I'll simply change this size. Let's say I want to pick let's say 150 and say we want this to be, let's say 280. Okay, great. So I would simply make the adjustments here. Watch what I want to do now. I'll make the adjustments here. This is rank sub. Then this is the cost. Then this is the value. So I know very well that we don't need this to be percentage subscribers and we don't need this to be the subject. We're not using the headers, the titles on the headers. So what we can actually do is come to a format here. Instead of having rank sub, we can just put R here to serve as rank. Instead of having subscribers here, we can just put S here, put S here. Then for this percent value, we can just say V here, that's the value. I'll change this to, that's the rank, the subject, and the value. So this will give us this space we want up here. So with this, we have a table visual that is close to what we have on the other side. But we still need to make some little adjustments to it based on what we have here. That's the top here, and what we have here. We need to do a formatting here. So we need to do a simple formatting by simply saying, first come to format and see column headers. So the column headers, we want to give the column text. We'll give it white 30% darker. Then with background, we actually say white 30% darker. So this will give us a feel of that same background we have on the other side. So while we're here, one final thing we need to do is simply come to cell element, scroll down. Well, the cell element is actually based on the value, which is V. We turn off the data bars. That will turn on the data bars. Great. So the next thing we need to do is come to format data bars. Just change the value, the positive value to, let's say 20% darker, and say okay. Great. So I think we should change that to 30% darker. I don't really know the one I used, but let's say 30% darker, and click on OK. Great. I think this does it for us. So we are good. We are almost there with this. One final thing we need to do, I think I can actually spot a white line here and here. So what I need to do is come to grid, come to the border. Now we need to talk about the column header. Let's be sure. Okay. Okay. What's the color we have here? Okay. Okay, so finally, I'll change this to all. I'll check and uncheck. That's great. So I'll change this to, okay, we have the same color for this, so it's fine. I think that's fine, but I think I'm missing something. I need to be sure. I think I'm missing something. I'm missing something. I can spot a white line in between. So let me come here and just confirm that. I'll zoom in. I'll zoom in to be sure. To be sure I'm not missing anything. So I think I'm missing something. Okay. Okay. So let's go back to our report now. I think we're good. But in case I'm missing anything, I have to be sure. So I think it has to do with this grid. So I have to be sure. Let me turn off this. No, not this. So I have to come to the borders. I think it has something to do with the borders. So I have to be very sure. Okay, let me change this to that's the column headers now. What do we have in options? No, we don't have anything in options. So I'll change this to value selection. Value selection, okay, we're good with that. Total selection. I want to check everything on the total selection because we really don't have total there. I think it has something to do with the column header. Okay, that's fine. If one thing I need to do now is come to general, come to effects, turn off the background. Then finally, I'll go back to the visuals once more, come to column headers. Okay, we have the colors formatted already. We don't need totals. So with this, we're actually done with our matrix table. Not really matrix table. I think I picked the table, so it's a table visual. So once we've actually done this for the percentage subscribers, so I'll zoom out now. Once we've done this for the subscribers, this table is really small, so I'll click on the table, I'll come to format, I'll go to global, I'll increase the font size to say 12. Okay, so I'll make some adjustments here. Also make the adjustments here. I think this is too large. Maybe we'll make the font size 14, make it bigger. Okay. So I also make some adjustments here. Okay, great. Great. So one thing I need to do is select. So you need to play around this grid actually. Normally what I do is play around it to get what I want. So I think I'll pick the column header now. I'll uncheck the column header. Let me see how it looks like. It's not really what I want yet, right? Okay, I think it's fine. It's actually fine. It's actually fine. It's actually fine. So finally, I think the column headers, I'll come to format, column headers. I'll change this. I'll make it 30% darker. I'll come to the background, make it 30% darker. Yeah, I think it's close to what I want. Yeah, it's okay. So once we've done this, we can simply just make a duplicate of this. So I'll just say Ctrl C, Ctrl V. I'll make a duplicate of this. I'll bring it down here. The next thing I'll do is, now we only need to change, I will uncheck everything we have here. I'll uncheck the rank because we're actually using the rank for subscribers. Now we're talking about revenue. So I'll uncheck the rank. I'll replace that rank with revenue rank. That's rank revenue. This is rank revenue, rank REV. I'll take it up. I'll uncheck, this is the subject. I'll leave the subject because we're actually working with the same subject. So finally, I will uncheck the value, which is the percentage revenue. So percentage subscribers. Now I need percentage revenue. So I'll check percentage revenue. Remember, percentage revenue here, I just want to say R. No, just, I'll say V, that's the value. Then for this rank, I'll simply just say R. Great. So finally, I think we have the same thing. We have something similar. So I'll make sure it's similar to what we have here already. I'll simply just make a push. Great. So it's similar to what we have up there already. The only thing we need to do is add the conditional formatting for the bars. So first thing, I'll sort this. I'll sort by. Now remember, if you want to sort, the S is the subject, the V is actually the value. So I'll say sort by value. Now we have web development as number one also. So I'll come to cell elements. Is actually based on the value, which is V. I'll just turn on the data bars. Then I'll come to format. I'll change the positive value. 30% DACA and click on OK. So with this, we have for based on subscribers, revenue. Now we need same thing for reviews and lectures. We need same thing for reviews and lectures. So I'll make another copy. Oh, I already had a copy made before now. So I'll do the same thing. I will uncheck the rank, replace the rank now. We're talking about reviews, that's ROV. I'll take the rank upwards. I want the rank to come first. I will check the value. I'll replace it with percentage reviews. So I want this to just be V, which is the value. I want this to be R, which is the rank. So finally, I'm going to sort this by the value. So fine. Next thing I want to do is make some little adjustments here. Finally, make some adjustments here. So I'll increase the size. So the rank needs to be arrow. That's what I'm having. Okay, great. So I'll make some little adjustments here. I'll increase this a bit to make sure it's the same size. That's fine. So I'll come to format again, cell elements. We're still on V. Remember the selection is actually on V. So I'll turn on the data bars, come to format, change the value, 30% DACA. Okay, that's fine. So lastly, we need to, I'll just paste now because I still have it copied. And we need to replicate this for total lectures. So I'll simply do the same thing like we've been doing before now. I'll remove the ranking. I'll pick the ranking for the lecture, take it up. I'll remove the value. I'll pick the values, percent value for the lectures. So this will be R, this will be V, which is the value. Great. So finally, what I need to do is just increase this a bit. Then once I've done this, I have to come to sort by value. Great. So finally, I'll simply come to format. I'll see cell element is still on V, which is the value. I'll turn on the data bars, go to function, as conditional formatting, change it to 30% DACA. Click on OK. Great. So one thing I want to do is just to pick this table, hold down my control, pick this table, hold down my control, pick this table, and just come to format, general, effects. I'll turn on the background and turn it off to make sure it's off for all. Come to visual, none, okay, that's fine. Grid, borders, column header, I'll just turn it on again and see what happens, if anything happens. Uncheck for all. Okay. I think this is fine. This is perfectly fine. Yes, this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. So I think I have what I want. I have what I want. I'll come to the grid here. I'm just trying to check to be sure. Remember I said you should play around this. For all, it is not. For column headers, or for value selection, or for total, none. Okay. Column header and value selection. Column header, or value selection, or all, none. Total selection, none. So great. With this, we've actually created the KPI card, which is, if we come to our report now, let me zoom out. So this is actually, this entire section is actually for the KPI card. So everything about here is talking about subscribers. This is total subscribers, subscribers by year, then by the subjects, different subjects. So with this, we are actually done with the entire card. So all we need to do is make a simple, this is actually a background, then every other thing is there already. So we'll talk about that. So with this, we're actually done with the first section of this video. In the second section of the video, we will create the that's the remaining visuals, the visuals we have here, then walk around the background and see how we can have this same background we have here and everything we have here. Then we can play around the color format and everything. So with this, we're done with section 1 of the video. I don't want this video to be too long, so we'll call it a quit here. By the next video, we are going to walk around how we can actually achieve the entire formatting, just like we have in the other report. So stay tuned. Thank you very much.